China is on the brink of economic catastrophe. China is about to lose $500 billion worth of trade, its real estate market exploding, and for the first time ever, their GDP is about to slow down, and the forecast that they will not hit 5% annually, and it will be about 4.2%. And that forecast is going down and down. And if China's GDP is not going to grow for about 5% at least annually, they have no chance to ever catch up the United States. Now, finally, since this trade war started with the United States, there is going to be a meeting on high levels between the two countries to agree on terms on how the trade is going to be between the two countries. But guess what? This meeting could actually end up a disastrous for the entire Chinese economy because China doesn't have a lot of options. And the end game of this meeting could actually end up hitting the Chinese economy much harder than anything ever hit the Chinese economy. China is seriously preparing for the negotiations. First of all, they injected $140 billion into their economy in order to stimulate the economy so that it won't slow down and to show the United States that the Chinese economy is not slowing down. But guess what? It's actually slowing down. They have lowered down or they cut the reserve requirements for the bank in order to grow the liquidity in the banks. So there is a percentage of cash that the banks have to keep in their bank reserves in order to exist. Now, if the Chinese Communist Party or the Chinese government will lower down that requirement, now more money will be flooded into the economy and more loans will be given by the banks to the people, and that will stimulate the economy as well. Another measurement they have taken is to lower down the interest rate for the short-term debts, again, for the exact same purpose in order to increase the liquidity in the financial system and the economy overall. Now, unlike the United States, China has a lot of room to lower down interest rates. Now, the US does not have that option and it does not enjoy that kind of circumstances because the United States was running through massive inflation in the last couple of years, especially since 2021. But that was not the case in China. Back in 2023, when the United States was going through massive inflation, China had an inflation of 0.23%. So inflation wasn't even 1%. The high inflation or the highest inflation that you see on this chart is like 2.9%, and that was before the pandemic. In 2022, it was 2%. This year, inflation is going to be around, or it's going to be negative 0.3%. That is really, really low. So China is trying to solve a completely opposite problem than compared to the United States, because the US is trying to lower down that inflation and China is trying to increase that inflation. So literally, according to the data that you see in front of you, China literally can go and lower down their interest rate. It's right now about a little over 3%. So they can go to 1.5%, they can go to 1%, or even they can go to 0% at least for 2 years in order to win this trade war. Now, China is the biggest threat to the United States because China becoming the world's largest economy is going to put the United States in such a circumstances that the United States will no longer be able to lead the world. And one of the ways they have done that is by massively investing in R&D. This chart perfectly illustrates what exactly China did. Now, back in 2015 or 14, they've created a vision and they called it Made in China 2025. And the goal of this vision was that China is going to move from low-tech products into high-tech products. And they will invest massively. I'm talking about trillions of dollars into R&D in order to lead the world in major technologies. We're talking about robotics. We're talking about aerospace. We're talking about chips. We're talking about weapons. And fast forward to 2025, who's leading the world in batteries, for example? It's China, who is one of the major manufacturers of AI chips. It's China. Even if you listen to the CEO of NVIDIA, he literally made it clear that China isn't that far behind the United States. It's a matter of a couple of years before they even produce chips that are even more advanced than the United States. Remember, they released DeepSeek and it was as advanced as ChatGPT, and they literally spent like what, $5 to $6 million, when ChatGPT or OpenAI that created ChatGPT spent over $1 billion creating their AI version. A little over 25 years ago, China used to spend $41 billion on R&D. Today, they spend $723 billion. That's as much as the United States. So they have massively increased their spending on R&D. And you have to understand the difference. The spending on R&D in China is very different than spending in the United States, because a lot of that money goes into salaries. And since the cost of labor is literally lower than the United States, at least a few times, yes, the difference isn't literally that massive, especially when you're paying high people with high skills or high paying jobs. But still, nonetheless, there is a huge difference, which means that technically China is spending more on R&D than the United States, which is why China is winning the technology game in multiple industries, which is why they have some of the highest or the best technologies in the world. They went from 4% of global spending on R&D to 26%. And right now they are spending as much as the United States. The gap is very, very small. And the goal of this Made in China 2025 was that China should become self-reliant. They should not rely on outside countries for their technology. They should not rely on the United States for their planes, for example. So if Boeing stops supplying China with their planes, guess where the Chinese airlines are going to buy their planes? Exactly, the Chinese manufacturers. China will produce its own weapons. If the United States will put an embargo for exporting chips to China, guess where China is going to take their chips from? From China. And they have successfully accomplished this plan. And right now, they're leading the world in multiple high-tech sectors. And what's interesting is that back in the days, Obama made it clear that China is not playing by the rules and they're over-subsidizing their industries. And nobody took Obama seriously. I mean, the only difference between Obama and Trump is that the exact same issues that Trump right now is actually fighting, Obama talked about them. Obama raised them as well. But the difference is that Obama did not have the political will to start a trade war against China in order to tackle these issues. He took it literally to the World Trade Organization. He opened lawsuits against China, but that didn't help because who is going to enforce these laws on China? Like literally nobody. But when you have a president like Trump who comes in and he starts an entirely trade war against China, somebody has to take him seriously, especially the Chinese, because it is going to hurt China. So unless China is going to follow the exact same rules as the United States will also not follow those rules. The US also sometimes does not follow the rules of the World Trade Organization, but there is no comparison. According to the rules of the World Trade Organization, countries cannot simply subsidize everything and then undercut prices in the entire market. If you leave the companies to compete in the open market, then the winner is going to lose. So whoever produces the best products, whoever can cut the cost the most, is going to win the market in the free and fair market. But when one company is being heavily subsidized by the entire government, then US companies stand no chance to compete against them. Now, this is the moment when China started trading with the United States. Prior to that, there is literally no exports or whatsoever to the rest of the world, especially to the United States. But then China realizes that we have to open to the rest of the world and we should start trading with everyone else. And suddenly you see that exports of China start to grow, and they have grown by over 10 times over a period of 20 years. But that's literally peanuts compared to what's going to happen next. This is 2001 and China joins the World Trade Organization. And according to the World Trade Organization, countries should entirely eliminate these tariffs. They should stop subsidizing their industries, but they actually left some room for the developing countries in order to give them an advantage over the developing countries or over the developed countries for them to grow their industries. Because most of the European countries and the United States were far ahead of China and entire Asian countries in multiple tech sectors. But by giving an advantage or a favorable condition to those countries to subsidize their industries, it pushed them to join the World Trade Organization. And up until today, China considers itself a developing country and not a developed country, even though that it's the world's largest economy. So it's not following the exact same rules as the United States does. And that's something that Obama talked a lot when he was the president of the United States. And this is one of the key things that Trump wants China to do. And if it wasn't for this favorable condition by the World Trade Organization and tweaking the rules slightly, this wouldn't happen. So their exports wouldn't grow to $3.5 trillion and their GDP wouldn't grow this much. Even if you look at the annual GDP growth year by year, this is the moment when they start trading with the United States and their GDP instantly grow. It grows by about 15% annually. Just for the context that the US GDP grows by about 2% annually. And if it grows by 2.5%, we consider that great. So when you have a GDP growing by 16%, what does it mean? It means that the economy is doing great. And over the next 40 years, you see the GDP growing tremendously. This is the moment when China joins the World Trade Organization and its GDP skyrockets. This is when the United States goes through one of the worst crises in its entire history, but Chinese GDP grows at around 10%. So imagine the United States going through the 2008 financial crisis where the entire economy is getting destroyed. Well, China's GDP grows by over 8%. Of course, it started to slow down, especially when Trump became the president for the first time and started the first trade war. But now it bounced back. However, the biggest crisis is about to happen right now since Trump has launched this trade war against China. China doesn't have a lot of options because China wants to keep growing its economy and they want to become the world's largest economy. But they don't have a lot of options. Either they have to follow the rules of the World Trade Organization or they have to give up the entire trade with the United States. And that's the option that the United States want to negotiate with China when they are going to meet with them. Follow the rules or you're going to lose $500 billion worth of trade. And when I say following the rules, no more subsidies, and you have to open the entire Chinese market to the rest of the world. And this is one of the greatest things for the American companies, because if American companies is going to have access to the Chinese market, sales are going to skyrocket, profits are going to quadruple, stock prices are going to rise so much that you cannot possibly comprehend that right now. And that is one of the greatest news that I'm waiting for. But that is really bad news for China, because either of these options are going to slow down the Chinese GDP. And if the Chinese GDP from now onwards is going to grow at around 3% annually, remember, the current projection right now is like 4.2%. And if it goes down to 3%, and that's going to be the average growth over the next 20 to 30 years, guess how many years it will take China to ever compete with the United States? Like the current GDP of the United States is like $30 trillion. And the current GDP of China is about $18.5 trillion. So assuming that China is going to grow at 3% annually from now onwards, let's say starting from next year, because of this new deal that the United States is going to have with China, and Chinese GDP is going to grow at 3%, it is going to take China at least 18 years to be where the United States is today. And where do you think United States is going to be 18 years from now? Its GDP is going to be at least $50 to $60 trillion. In 18 years, the United States will certainly at least double its GDP. And that's exactly what China is afraid of. China is turning into Japan 2.0. Maybe it's not going to be as bad as Japan because Japan hasn't been growing for the last 40 years, I guess. No, it stopped growing since 1996. So it stopped growing for the last 30 years. But if China manages to grow at 3%, they will be a significant player in the market. But they have to forget that they will ever become the world's largest economy. And that is probably the worst thing that could happen to the Chinese economy. And remember, China is facing a lot of other crises. China is about to face a housing crash. Now, I don't know when that housing crash is going to explode because China is sitting on around 100 million of empty houses. And if China is going to have the 2008 style crisis like the United States has, I don't know what is going to take China to come out of that crisis. And now, since the new agreement with the United States is not going to be as favorable as it was for the last 40 years or for the last 35 years, then China is looking for the next 40 years of economic slowdown.